too that just don't satisfy. You serve the Lord, you live for Jesus, and it will. And it was wonderful this morning looking at Philippians chapter 2. If there be therefore any consolation in Christ, if any comfort of love, if any bowels of mercies, it's some other things too that I can't remember the verse exactly. But friend, the question is there any? And that is a question that's asked. And the answer to that question is there is. And there's a consolation in Christ. You say, what did I give up for Jesus? Well, I'll be honest with you, nothing worthwhile but everything. In other words, when God saved you, you didn't give up anything worth anything, but you gave up everything. And there's a consolation for that. And that's all the things that pertain to life and godliness. And it's a wonderful privilege to be a Christian and to have a God who is concerned with us as individuals and even has a plan for each of our lives. And it's just good. I want to just encourage you this morning. If you spend a lot of your life chasing dreams, or you're considering chasing dreams instead of following Jesus, go ahead and look at the facts of the matter. And the conclusion that you'll come of is that there's a wonderful and bountiful supply in Jesus, and anything else is sure failure and a waste of time. And it's good sometimes to learn not by experience, but learn by listening. I know when I was a young person, I had the privilege of being under good Christian folks that were serving the Lord that gave good advice. They gave me advice about dating, and I followed it. They gave me advice about relationships and friendships, and I followed it. And they gave me advice about serving the Lord, and I followed that. And I want to tell you something, the difference between the folks that I grew up with that wanted to learn for themselves and the ones who learned by listening is remarkable. And it's a lot better to learn by believing God and His Word than it is to have to go out and find out that it's true based upon bad experience instead of good experience. God's been good to me, and I think He's been good to you as well, and so we're going to rejoice in that this morning. There's a lot of things in the bulletin by way of announcement this morning. And if you didn't get a bulletin, there will be one available for you after the service. I don't want to spend a lot of time on announcements this morning, and so let me just mention something that I'm going to ask that you would begin to very seriously pray about now at this time, and that is in the month of February we're going to have a week. Tell me, but I don't really care what Obama did this week as far as just going and spending my life trying to figure out what's happening politically, because the Republicans are messed up, and the Democrats are messed up, and the Americans are messed up because they're without Jesus Christ. And the solution to the problems in our country and everywhere else is Jesus Christ. And if we are going to be effective in changing this world, go out and vote. I will, and I plan on it. But I want to tell you something. It won't change anything, because right now the conservatives say that they need to be conservative fiscally. And I'm just telling you, there's no such thing as fiscal conservatism separated from morality. It just doesn't exist. We need morality in America. And I'll tell you where that comes from. It comes from people not deciding whether they favor this or against that. It comes from people understanding God and what is sin, what is righteous, and living our lives that way. You want to change America? Preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Amen. And that'll do it. It really will. But the problems with us, we're focused on all the things that are peripherals. We're focused on economy. We're focused on problems. I'm going to tell you, Christians, don't worry about the economy. Get in God's economy and start living for Jesus, and you'll find out that that's the solution and that's the answer. And even when the world all around you is going down in, I guess, whatever they call it, in a blaze of glory, probably not a blaze of glory, but when everything around you seems to be falling apart, you know what you won't be? And that's amazing. It really will be true in all aspects of your life. That's the way it is in Jesus Christ. So this revival is a big deal. I'm going to ask you to commit now to pray. Now, I had somebody ask me, what week in February? Well, that's the difficulty. It's going to be one of probably the third week in February, but we're not positive about it because there's another church that is working with their schedule with Dr. Flanders, and I've told them that we'll be flexible about it, what week that they'll come. But you could pray now for it and pray that the Lord would do a work in your life. Pray for yourself spiritually. Say, God, I'm praying that in this meeting this would be a milestone in my life. This would be something that would be a monumental occasion that you would begin to really, either if you're doing well spiritually, this would be the next step. Or if you're not doing well spiritually, this would be the time in my life when things would be right. And by the way, get yourself right and then prepare for the Lord to work. But just pray for God to move mightily in your life. Next week I'll ask you for some other things to pray about, but you need revival personally, and I do too, and that's what we ought to be praying for first and planning for in February. I know you can't turn on revival, but God's not going to work if we don't ask Him to. And so that's what we really need to be focusing on. And so let's be planning and praying for that now at this time. We're going to have the offering at this time. Brother Alex, if you'll come. I think that everyone here this morning would be familiar with the offering in our church, and so I won't say anything about it. I'll just ask that as you give this morning, you would do so scripturally.
Church will be dismissed for any children basically ages 3 to 12.
We're going to ask at this time that Brother Richard Hurst would come and share your testimony in just a second. We do our privilege this morning to have the Hurst family visiting with us, and many of you folks didn't know they were coming. The reason is I wasn't sure they were coming this Sunday. Thought they might. I was hoping they would. Matter of fact, last night Brother Kent and I prayed they would. And so here you are in answer to prayer. Many of you folks actually are here this morning in answer to prayer, believe it or not. Specific prayer, and we've just seen the Lord answer in a wonderful way. Thank you for just being a blessing to us that way and being here. But Brother Hurst and his family, they're missionaries, and they're really praying about a specific, maybe a change in ministry possibly in their life at this time. And one of those changes that we would be talking about would be possibly church planting, and maybe in South Florida. So we're really praying that the Lord would plant some more ministries, like-minded ministries in this area. And so I want to ask Brother Hurst just to, maybe you could share a little update of what's going on with your ministry.